Chapter 21. Piper. Though Patrick says I have nothing to worry about, I'm still a bundle of nerves as I pull into his driveway. I know how important friends are, and I worry what Patrick will do if Chris doesn't like me. His grin lights up his whole face when he opens the door. "Oh, good, you're here." "Where else would I be?" I ask, confused. "No, I'm just glad you didn't back out. I was a little afraid you might." "I was a little afraid I might too," I say. "But thanks to my handsome friend, I have a bit more confidence now." "You think I'm handsome?" he asks, his eyebrows waggling. "Who said I was talking about you?" I tease back, surprised at how easy it is with Patrick. He glances behind him and then pulls me in for a quick kiss. Though we've told work, tonight is about telling his daughter and meeting Chris, so I understand his concern. As I step into the room, Amelia comes running in, followed by a woman with chestnut hair cut into a bob. "Hi, Miss Piper." Amelia smiles widely as she throws her arms around my thighs in a hug. This is her common greeting, and one I never thought I'd enjoy, but there is something about Amelia that you can't help but love. "Hello, little one," I say, giving her shoulders a squeeze back. "You have to meet my other favorite grown-up," Amelia says, pulling back and grabbing my hand. "She already knows me," Patrick says. Amelia rolls her eyes. "Not you, Daddy. I'm talking about Chris." Patrick feigns hurt, but Amelia doesn't even notice as she tugs me toward the other woman. "Miss Piper, this is Chris. She watches me when Daddy can't." Chris chuckles. "I hope I'm more than just the woman who watches you when Daddy can't." She smiles and sticks out her hand. "Pleased to meet you, Piper." "Likewise," I say as I shake her hand. "I hear it's you I have to thank for the speed dating suggestion." I sneak a teasing glance at Patrick. Though I've forgiven him, it will remain a joke between us for a while. "Guilty," she says. Though for the record, I told him it was a bad idea to pretend it was Dave's advice. "Okay, enough talk about that. Who's up for a game?" Patrick asks, stepping in. "Can we play Candyland?" Amelia asks, bouncing up and down on her toes. "Go get it," Patrick says, and then turns to us. "You guys don't mind, do you?" Chris shakes her head. "Not me. I'm good at Candyland." I shrug. I've never played, but I'm game. When Amelia returns with the game, we settle around the table. Patrick sits on one side of me and Amelia on the other. Chris ends up across from me. "Okay, let me explain how to play," Amelia says, as she takes out the pieces. She is clearly relishing her role as expert. With the rules explained, the play commences and I study the easy dynamic between Patrick, Chris, and Amelia. It is easy to see why the girl is so attached to Chris. Her patience and affection are obvious, but so is the fact that Chris and Patrick are just friends. There's no romantic tension in the air, no sidelong glances, and I feel the last of my tension fade away. Patrick catches my eye and squeezes my hand as if to say, "See, nothing to worry about." I smile and squeeze his hand back. "So, Amelia," Patrick begins, "how would you feel if Miss Piper came around more often?" Amelia smiles up at me. "I wouldn't mind, especially if she plays Candyland with me again." "I think that can be arranged." I draw a card and move my game piece along the winding path. Aw, man, I landed on a sticky spot. Looks like I'm stuck here for a turn. "Too bad," Amelia says gleefully. "That means I might win." Chris chuckles. "Don't count your candy corns before they're in the bag. I'm catching up to both of you." She moves her blue piece ahead several spaces. "What I mean, Em, is that I would like to date Miss Piper. Would that be okay?" Patrick asks, trying to return the conversation to his original question. Amelia's face scrunches and she looks at her dad. "Do you mean like she would be my mom?" I cover my mouth to keep from spitting out the water I had just sipped and look to Patrick. "Not right away, no. Dating is kind of like a trial for marriage, but she would be around like a mom and do things with us." Amelia purses her lips for a minute and then looks at Chris. "I thought you were going to be my mom. If Dad dates Miss Piper, would you have to go away?" Chris's eyes widen and she places a hand on Amelia's arm. "Oh, no, honey. A marriage between your dad and I would never work, but I'm still going to be in your life as much as usual. Maybe even more so if your dad and Miss Piper go out." "Oh, well, then I guess it's okay with me." She turns to me. "I like you, Miss Piper. I just know Chris better." I nod, surprised at her thoughtfulness. "I completely understand, Amelia." With that out of the way, we resume Candyland. And after Amelia wins, she leaves to watch some TV, and the three of us switch to Scrabble. "So what was Patrick like in high school?" I ask as I grab letters to fill my board. Chris chuckles and shakes her head. "He was a lot like me. In fact, that's how we met. We were in the same math class and we began competing for the highest grade. Then we joined Knowledge Bowl together and it became a competition to see who could answer the most questions. Everything was a competition between us, which is probably why we work better as friends." Patrick nods and turns to me. "Remember when I said being too alike isn't always a good thing?" I nod and wonder again if that's why Ian and I didn't work out. We were very alike as well, and maybe, just like me, he needed someone to pull him out of his shell. Something I never could have done for him. Though it does not excuse his behavior, it does soften the rejection. "Well, I should be going," Chris says, when the Scrabble game ends. Though the two of them did try, Scrabble is my game, and I won easily. "It was so good to meet you, Piper, and I'm glad you gave Patrick another chance. He really is one of the good ones." I smile at him. I'm glad I did too. When it's time for me to leave, Patrick escorts me to my car. "So what?" I say, feigning ignorance. "What do you think of Chris? Do you like her?" he prods. I let out an exaggerated sigh before playfully punching him in the arm and rolling my eyes. "Oh, all right. Yes, I like her. Satisfied now?" Patrick grins and wraps his arm around my waist. "Very much so. I'm glad you approve." I lean into him, feeling a sense of contentment. For the first time in a long time, I feel like things are falling into place. Though it has only been a couple weeks since Patrick and I started dating, it feels like we have known each other for years. And now, with the blessing of his daughter and the knowledge that there is no competition from Chris, I feel like we can truly move forward. "Good night, Piper," he says, giving me a soft kiss before letting go and stepping back. As I drive home, I can't help but feel a sense of relief that my fears were unfounded. And as I crawl into bed that night, I fall asleep with a smile on my face, looking forward to what the future holds for Patrick and me.